Alright, welcome to 2024, and I guess I'll start the year with some good old PvP. I actually thought to start the year with something else, but you know, I figured out that PvP is the old school way for me, I guess. I think I started every year ever since I started the game with PvP, so I kind of want to continue with that tradition. But you know, we will see what will happen. Next year might be different. Who knows? But today I'll be doing some good old solo, and there is going to be some fleet. I mean, it's going to be basically everything that I usually do. So it's going to be a lengthy compilation of the fights that we had in the last couple of days, and I think it's going to be quite fun. There have been some very weird moments, some funny moments as well. And I just realized something on my last live stream. I think like 6 out of 10 battleships that I've killed in the last couple of weeks were Balagons, and I haven't even realized that, which was kind of funny. I didn't realize that I was killing Balagons all the time. Anyway, let's go to the first kill, and well, we have a Balagon. Speaking of the devil, or in this case, speaking of the vampire. Now the Balagon is a very dangerous ship. Well, it used to be more dangerous than now. It used to be one of the scariest ships in the game, and we'll see if 2024 will be better for this ship. I mean, there's going to be balance updates, there's going to be all sorts of updates throughout the year, and maybe the updates make this ship better than it used to be. I don't know. I guess that's one of the things that we have to wait and see. Now I'm flying a ship that is not really designed to fight Balagons. When I built the Tempest fleet, the only ship that I can't really counter solo is a Balagon, and when I'm usually flying this ship, I always get the worst possible ship to fight. And well, we have a Balagon here now. It seems like the Balagon is sleeping. However, I do see some armor repair effects. Now I don't know what the Balagons is doing. Maybe they're sleeping, maybe not. I guess time will tell. But I'm slowly approaching, and as you can see, a Balagons, based on the amount of damage that I'm doing to this thing, it seems to be a tank build. And tank build Balagons are, I would say, the scariest, because tank versus tank, the ship with better capacitor usually wins in a 1v1, and you are definitely not going to outperform a Balagon's capacitor unless you have a ship specifically designed to fight Balagons, which my ship in this case isn't. It's basically a build that I have assembled to be able to fight 99% of ships, but not a Balagon, because you know, can't really have every single ship countered with one build. And the Balagon is basically the scariest ship that you can fight in a 1v1. Well, it looks like this thing woke up, and they are actually after our bubble, which is maybe the smart idea. I say smart idea, depends on, I guess, the perspective. I would actually like if they would shoot me, because our bubble, well, bubbles usually can tank Battleship DPS for long, and that's exactly what happens with our bubble. And thankfully I was able to kill the Balagon, although we did lose the bubble, so yeah. Although I would say it was a worthy sacrifice. We have to check out the kill of the kill value of the Balagon. Usually the ships are on the higher end when it comes to the total ISK cost and total price. So I think, yeah, there we go, 5 billion. Not bad, solid catch, solid kill. Unfortunately the bubble died, and look at all these stabs, and look at... Actually, my apologies, that's wrong ship. This ship didn't have stabs. But one of the next ships that we will be looking at in the list today will have quite a bit of stabs, which is not surprising, honestly, but you know, always funny to look at the amount of stabs nowadays. Do I hate stabs? Well, I wouldn't use the word hate. It's, you know, just annoying in most cases. Stabs are annoying at best, but I don't hate them. I don't have any. I don't really hate anything, any module or stuff like that. But I just find that stabs are just annoying by default, and the one-click escape core is also kind of annoying as well. But that would be about it. No hatred or anything. That word, hatred, is I think too strong for a lot of things within the game.
Autopilot engaged.
And this Balagon had 4 webs. That's scary for a cruiser. 4 webs are scary. If you can't slow down the Balagorn enough, you are not able to speed tank it. And I think I think you really have to be at 0 in order to speed tank 4 webs. Although I'm fairly sure speed tanking that is kinda difficult with any ship actually. Next target we have a Apocalypse Striker. I almost said Apocalypse Navy. Well, I wish it was a Navy. But this is a Apocalypse Striker, and I am the primary target of the Apocalypse. Kinda funny because usually, I actually want to be the primary target in a fleet, because my ships are built to withstand all sorts of incoming damage. And this Apocalypse is using beam lasers, so my friends should be pretty good and pretty safe orbiting at 0 beam lasers. Even if my friend is webbed, I believe they will have enough speed to effectively speed tank the Apocalypse Striker. And as you can see, they are not doing too much damage on my shield. My shield is basically, it's not taking much damage, 94%, 96%. It is actually boosting. Although this ship's, the idea behind the build is basically the Varagor from Evil 9. Only the difference is a couple modules and a couple rigs. And the Varagor is a passive tank with a very good shield recovery rate. While this thing can do the same thing, can have about the same recovery, same recharge, but it has to have one booster that kind of, imitates the passive recharge, although obviously it's not entirely passive. It obviously has an active shield booster, but it is the same idea behind this ship as well, and I honestly like it so far. It works really well. Now the Apocalypse does have a neutralizer, although I'm not really worried about the neutralizer, and they definitely have a micro warp drift. That's a very quick Apocalypse, but my friend did web it down, and I'm not really worried about my ship. I can take a lot of damage. And cannons don't eat any capacitor, so I can just shoot and approach. And there we go. The Apocalypse has been destroyed. That was a sweet kill. Always nice to blow up a Apocalypse. They usually have some that one was pretty good. Bunch of C-type beam lasers, and overall a very interesting kite build actually. Does kind of look like a CTA built Apocalypse Striker, to be honest. I have seen very similar builds in the past. Might actually be a PvE, or PvE might be PvE actually. PvE or a fleet build Apocalypse Striker. Next we have another Balagorn. Imagine my shock. That's the second one today. And this is what I'm talking about. I would love to have Balagons when I was flying the Revelation. The Revelation eats Balagons for breakfast. But any other ship, and I take out the Revelation and I don't get a Balagon, I get, other ships, but I take any other ship and a Balagon served on a golden plate, just like that. Kind of funny. That's just my luck. That's just my luck in a nutshell. Now, this Balagorn, I think, they have warped in. Okay. And this Balagorn is still sleeping, although they will wake up down the road. The thing is, I love how every time I'm actually doing something, I don't get AFK ships. I don't get easy kills. They always wake up when I'm around. But when my friends are actually over here, and when my friends are camping, they get the tastiest and easiest kills imaginable. But when I'm in the bubble, I don't get that. I get ships that are live. So one little fun fact, and another little point where my luck is obviously not that good. Although not complaining, I do love to have a good fight, that's for sure. But sometimes you just wanna chill, right? And fighting a Balagorn is anything but chill because these things are scary. Always a lot of respect versus a Balagorn because they are vampires. They will kill your capacitor, and if they kill your capacitor, they kill your ship. And in a 1v1, usually they win, although depends if you have a full DPS ship or an anti-Balagorn ship, that basically kills it without much of a problem. And this Balagorn has no... Well, this Balagorn does seem to have some form of tank, although it doesn't feel too tanky since my DPS is able to just punch through the armor quite easily. It does take a while, but I'm still punching through the armor of the Balagorn. And my capacitor is also taking some hits. We'll have to turn off the booster. I have dual Nosferatus. Now, my dual Nosferatus are definitely no match for the Nosferatus on the Balagorn, because, you know, it has the overall penalty and it does draw more power. So my Nosferatus are going to be enough just to maintain the adaptive hardness online. The shield booster will go offline if I don't want to kill my own capacitor, so I will probably turn off the shield booster and passively tank the Balagorn. It is funny because I can technically tank the Balagorn's DPS on about 25 to 35% shield on peak recharge, because this thing has a very good shield recharge rate. Although haven't had the chance to play around with that, at least with the Balagorn, because the Balagorn died. That was a good kill, and that was a tough one. 10.9 billion, that was a juicy one. And let's guess how many stabs did they have. Oh my god, that's a lot of stabs, and a one-click escape nanocore. Although all these stabs and that nanocore was useless, didn't work, obviously. Which, you know, is, I guess, a good thing in a way. Even with those stabs and nanocores, you can still get some kills. Bit difficult, yeah, but, you know, still doable. Now, where was my Megathron Navy? Now, my Megathron Navy went frail. Let's say I changed the build on this thing a little bit, and this is going to be the first battle that the Megathron will have. Now, we have dual Macarios, and they are in a scout anomaly. And we are warping in. We're about to see what's going on there. Probably a bait. It does smell like a bait. I mean, we can smell a bait from a very, very long distance. Now, I am in a navy, and my friend is in a Megathron Striker. My friend would take a navy, but at the time they didn't have a ship ready, which is fine. They have a lot of DPS. They have much more DPS than my ship. My ship is a brick. This Megathron navy is still a brick. It's designed to be a bait, basically, and for that purpose it did really well so far. No complaints about the tank. It is exceptionally good. Now, I had a very good idea here. I actually wanted to warp in to get aggro first, but my friend didn't say warp in or jump in, so I did not want to mess up. I was worried that they might have, you know, always a chance that the Macarios are actually doing PvE or doing something else. So I did not want to mess up and scare them off, because I only have one scrambler. Basically, my ship is built to hold targets and have capacitor. My friend has full tackle. So I didn't want to mess that up, and this turns out to be a big mistake that I did, because turns out the Macarios were actually baiting, and one Macario is a super trunk, a very, very tanky Macario, while the other Macario seems to be a sniper. Honestly, very good combination, and I do like the idea that the Macario pilots have here. And of course, we will be shooting the closest one, and if I warped in first, I would be the ship that would take damage, which is basically what this ship is designed to do. It's designed to basically take damage, to be a bait. But I kind of hoped that we might be able to kill them before they manage to do any damage to our ships. And that's a very good tank on that Macario. Definitely does smell like it, at least one integration, and it also does seem like they have a damage control, which again is a good thing to do, to have. But unfortunately, we also lost a ship, so my bad decision to not warp in first is basically the reason why my friend lost his Megaton Striker. That was my fault. I should have just warped in first. Now I did try to go slowly towards the other Macario, and they did shoot at me. Although obviously I'm not going to go anywhere fast with this ship, since it's obviously not fast. It's a Megaton Navy. It's never going to win a race against a Macario when it comes to speed. Doesn't matter if warp speed or ship's base velocity. The Macario is simply outclassing any other battleship when it comes to warp speed, and yeah, I'm definitely not going to be able to catch this Macario in the belt via warp. Now it does seem like didn't really end well in the end, but the ISK of the Macario that we destroyed was pretty good. I mean, the value of the kill value was pretty good, and we ended up being ISK positive in the end. And honestly, I think in the end that's what matters. We ended up being ISK positive. Was fun as well. Good fight to the Macario pilots. They're chill. They're chill pilots. Although it was fun little encounter. My mistake. Well, could have probably went without losing anything, but I made a bad call. I should have just warped first and take the aggro. And here is the Macario that we have destroyed. 5.8 billion. Pretty good. This have a very interesting build. It wasn't full tank. Had some DPS and had some tank and had some integrations. Overall, a pretty interesting build, I would say. I liked. I actually do like that build. Now here we have some ships also in a scout, or in Inquisitor, my apologies. We have a Drake, and there is also a Hurricane. Now first we thought that it could possibly be a bait, and in a classical fashion, I'm just going to yeet the chunkiest possible ship I have, because you never know if it's 2 ships or 20 ships. And if it's by any chance a battlecruiser trap, I can tank battlecruiser trap quite easily. Already tried that one out. It worked really well with the Tempest fleet. But I'm going in. My friend also warped in. My friend is in a Salus, which is a fantastic ship and has a lot of DPS. And I'm the trunk. I'm the flying brick here. I mean, literally flying brick. And no propulsion module, just a bunch of webs and a bunch of adapters. Okay, this room seems clear. They are in the 3rd room, and there is a lot of wrecks. So this tells me that the ships that are inside are not bait ships, but they're actually running the anomaly. So have to be quick. Don't want to let them finish the anomaly. And I just hear that the Hurricane warped out, and my friend caught the Drake. Okay, no local spike, so should be good. It's kind of funny. I started to feel a bait by just looking at low. Like, I started to literally predict the exact day when there's a trap for us anywhere, basically. And I became excellent at evading traps. It's kind of funny how that happened. Alright, well, let's lock the Drake on. My friend already stripped down the shield and armor without a problem. I mean, that's the Salus for you. The Salus has a lot of DPS, and yeah, only one cycle of my large cannons was enough to wreck the Drake. I mean, it was only in hull, so yeah. Alright, well, that was interesting. I actually expected the Hurricane to be here as well, but the Hurricane warped out. So yeah, 354 million ISK. A mix of, yeah, I don't like to mix missiles. Use either torpedoes, rapids, or long range missiles on the classic mediums. Never mix. Mixing is not really a good idea. It doesn't really produce any significantly different results. It's only going to cripple your DPS, and in most cases it's doing more harm than good. That's why I stick with only one weapon system. Basically, I try to create builds that can counter a vast majority of ships, but I kind of always failed in a way, because you can't really have one single build counter everything. You will always have a weakness against something, and that's just how the game works. So it's better to be prepared for certain ship classes and to avoid other ship classes that counter you than to be average versus everything, because being average versus all ships is usually not going to end well for the ship that you're flying. Now here we have actually two ships. We have a Cyclone and a Omen. Now I don't know what they're doing. Maybe in a mission or something. I have, again, no clue, but I'm just going to yeet the cells and let's see what happens. I trust the cells a lot, has a lot of DPS. Now the primary target will be the more expensive Cyclone, which does appear to be the more distant ship, and I'll just try to rush towards it. A little bit of a risky maneuver since I'll be close to the Omen. I'm well aware of the risky maneuver, but I just did not want to let them escape. And I can just burn down the Cyclone first, and then I'll try to burn down the Omen. Okay, doing some good damage on the Cyclone. Time to prepare to focus on the Omen. Cyclone destroyed, so let's focus down the Omen. And Omen destroyed as well. Well, that's pretty decent. That was nice. Two ships. And you know, I actually thought about using the Thorax and or the Mallard actually. But I was worried that they would warp off and that I would be too slow to catch them. So when it comes to a situation like this, I usually just pick the ship that can get the job done as quickly as possible. And in this case, it was the Stealth. I mean, I already had like maybe 1,000 examples of why I fly the ships that I fly. Mostly because I want to ensure the kill and I don't want to let the ships escape. I think I also have an example of ships escaping in this video. One of the reasons why I fly ships that I fly, basically.
Warp drive active.
The main reason. If stabs haven't been so prevailing and if stabs haven't been so popular, I'll use the word popular. I think the word popular is definitely the right one. I would be flying ships that, you know, I would be flying a Rupture or Mallard versus these ships easily, but since stabs are a thing, I can't really risk having ships escape. Well, not bad. Oh my god, that's not a good build. A small capacitor battery. Yikes. And a Omen. Decent value on the Omen actually. 116 million for an Omen. That's not bad. Pretty solid. Not going to complain. It was pretty decent. It was fun. Let's go to the next one. Now, I might be wondering, well, what's happening here? Well, this is probably the most hilarious, being jumped type of clips that I've had for a very, very long time. 1, 2, 3, 4 Vexor and 1 Destroyer. Well, I have no idea what happened here, no idea what's happening, but guns blazing. And they also did start shoot as well, so I have no idea what happened here. If someone who was part of the fleet or if someone knows these guys can tell me what happened and why are they flying Vexors, I would love to know, because honestly I'm kind of confused. If they decide to just yeet load their ships, hey, that's actually pretty fun, and that's something I actually would like to do. But I'm usually alone, and usually alone with a couple other pilots, so we can't really do the same thing. For such a fleet, you really have to have quite the number of players at your hand, because in this case you really want to have a lot of players to compensate for the ship's weakness. But that was kind of funny. I have no idea what happened. Absolutely no idea what happened with why have they been flying Vectors over here. And the fun fact, I actually seen them fly through the system before I reached the system. I seen them fly through the system, but when I arrived they were already gone, so I wasn't really sure what ships they had. I thought it was interstellar fleet, but apparently not. And is this a fleet build. It does look like a fleet build, honestly. Uh, does seem like one. I actually like the idea behind these ships. Doesn't remind me on a EVE Online build that I've seen quite recently, actually. Maybe it is a EVE Online build that I played into this game, which is again a very nice thing to do. It was fun regardless. Let's go to the next target. Well, what do we have here? Oh, we have a prophecy. Okay, it's gonna be a quick one. So, someone also asked me, what is the most killed ship that I have? That is actually a legit question that I have no idea how to answer, because I have no idea. I think prophecies are my most killed ships. Yeah, I think it's a prophecy actually. Prophecies used to be, I mean, prophecies are still very popular ships, mostly because they use drones, and drones are strong, drones are good for PvE, and drones are also good for PvP as well, I mean, especially with the new plans. And so I believe the prophecy as a ship class and as a ship itself is definitely my most killed ship to date. I mean, I used to hunt these ships all day long. And it was really fun. Alright, so let's go to the next target. I'll take my Vigilant. You know, I actually have a bunch of ships here that I rarely used. The Vigilant is such a nice ship. I love to fly it. I have it because I like to fly it. And the Vigilant is, in my hands at least, not as good as my friend's Vigilant, because my friend has I would say much better equipment, better nanocore, and overall my friend's been using the Vigilant much more often than I did, so obviously a player who's using a ship more is going to have more experience, so that's, I guess, okay. The main thing about the Vigilant that I don't like is the fact that it has only 3 medium slots, and you know, in usual fights nowadays, you really need to have a lot of points if you want to ensure that the target doesn't, you know, warp off. And this is where the cells would come into play, because the cells kills before the target has chance to warp out. And I kind of wanted to see if I can get this Cyclone with the Vigilant, the old school way with only one disruptor, or, you know, maybe maybe I actually do get the Cyclone kill here. And okay, well, guess not. If I had the cells, the fight would have already been over 5 times, but yeah, it's fine. Just another example of why I use the ships that I use. It's because of stabs. That's the only reason. Stabs. Stabs basically prevent a lot of players from using a single disruptor build, and it already kind of made all the builds focus on having a lot of scramblers. Basically, the only time you use a web or anything else is if you are in a fleet. And this is also a reason why flying with your friends is more fun, because teamwork means that you can actually fly your ship the way you want to fly it. You can have a dedicated tackle, and the other ships can have their own usual build, which means that you can still enjoy the ship the way you want to enjoy it. With the cells, 2 points, 3 points, 1 point, doesn't matter, because it just deletes ships in seconds. Something you can do with the Vigilant, but in my case I don't have the implant for it, and there are also other things that have to be included in that calculation. But that was a very interesting Ferox kill. Well, it was a fast one as well. Now let's go to the next targets. We have a Armageddon waiting for us. Now, could be a bait, who knows? I mean, anything is possible, really.
Warp drive active.
But now we are rolling out our good old Macarials. I mean, I love the Macario. This is definitely one of my top 10 ships of all time, really. One of my all-time favorites, for sure. Also a ship that I borrowed, well, borrowed with the quotation marks. Now, I warped first because I aligned. Usually I do that because my friend warps much faster. But that was surprisingly fast. This Armageddon definitely went down very quickly. And they were already in armor, so that's kind of weird. We haven't had any insurance frauds happening for a very long time, I believe. Well, insurance fraud prevention services have been activated, I guess.
Warp drive active.
Well, it's a running joke that we have insurance prevention. We used to have so many ships. Yeah, that was a insurance fraud. Alrighty then. Insurance fraud prevention service did work, and we did our job, I guess. We did our job effectively. Alright, let's align and wait out the criminal timer. Next we have a incoming Rattlesnake. There we go. Now the drawback of my Tempests in most cases is the fact that, you know, it's slow. It's slow, and the capacitor on this ship is also not the best. I think I already kind of covered all of these aspects of the ship, so it just adds that you can't really have everything combined in one ship. If I did put one micro wargraph in this ship, I would lose a bit of tank, and I would lose even more capacitor, which will definitely impact the tank even more. If I add an afterburner, the capacitor remains the same, but you know, the tank goes down a little bit. So you can't really have everything in one ship. I tried that with multiple ships. I think the closest ship that I was able to make work was the Macario, although the Macario suffers from having not a good tank. And a tanky Macario versus other tanky ships will most likely lose, because again, the Macario has speed, has DPS, but it doesn't have a good capacitor, and the tank at best is as average. Now you can make it tank, and in a fleet it works really well, but when you're solo with the Macario, I believe hit and run is still kind of the ideal way to pull it off, since most ships out there will not be able to tank you because most don't have a extremely tanky build. And if you encounter a very tanky ship, you can just warp off if you see that you can't break it, and if your ship starts to lose shield or armor. So it's definitely a ship that rewards teamwork and team play. Can also be used solo, of course. I mean, I use the Macario solo myself in a lot of situations, but it's definitely a ship that rewards team play. And we have a nightmare that is going to be burning back to the gate, and I believe this nightmare has the blue and white porcelain core, or they have the voyage core, because this nightmare was quite fast and webs didn't work on it, so that was also one of the missed ships that we had. Kind of wish, actually I might bring back my alt with the Daredevil. We will see. Maybe it's required for me to fly the Daredevil again. Who knows? We will see we will see what I'll do with that. There is still time for me to think about what I'll do with the tackle alt. Next we have a Brutix. The Brutix can be a very, very nice ship. Haven't used one myself. Did I fly a Brutix? I think I did. Yeah, I think I did fly a Brutix for a video a long time ago. I have to go back to it, because it's honestly a very interesting ship. Very interesting ship to use, and a very interesting ship to fly. but overall it is, I think, one of the better active armor tanks that we have in the game. We'll have to double check all the stats again. I think the Brudix has bonus on armor repairs, which again means that you can make a very tanky Brudix if you have the right idea, of course, and the right build. 503 million, well, quite a pricey Brutix, not gonna lie. Also, seems like they were missing modules, which is kinda funny. Transport Brutix, that's a new one. Next we have a prophecy. Let's go and tackle the prophecy, orbiting at 0. I am the bubble now. Now I did say that I'll have a bubble ship that's going to be for our fleet, and that I'll have a bubble ship that's going to be for solo. The solo bubble ship will be focused on DPS, the fleet bubble ship will be focused on tank. The main reason why I didn't buy one yet was ISK. I tried to sell some things. I did not want to empty my wallet that quickly. I'm trying to save as much ISK as possible, of course, trying to make everything work in one way or another. And of course I know that if I start to buy stuff on the market in YEET, let's say when my wallet is when my ISK wallet is fat, right? I have the problem of having to integrate every single damn ship I have, and that's basically how I built the navies. I had a lot of ISK and I just said to hell with it, let's just brick tank it. And that's just how I built my navies. And well, it works, but when I look at the price, yikes. I definitely should show you the insurance cost of my navies. They rival a dreadnoughts in the insurance price, so kind of funny because my revelation is now at 58 billion. My bloody Megatron navy is at 45 billion, so yeah, that tells you about how crazy I went with the rigs on that thing. The Tempest isn't any better, by the way. It's also ridiculously expensive. I think I have like 150 billion just in 3 ships or something. It's ridiculous, and I love it because it works. It works so well. I have no complaints about the performance on these ships. I love them. They're so fun to use. Well, this prophecy definitely has some teeth. I have a passive tank with this ship, for the reason that I don't trust the capacitor on military ships, and it seems to be holding really well so far. I mean, I do like the Raptor Interdictor. It's a very cute little ship. Well, one way for me to fight the Raptor is this way, with flying the Interdictor version of it. And there we go. That was a nice little kill. No complaints from me.
Autopilot engaged.
And now let's go back to my original position and let's take a look at the kill. Well, not bad. 329 billion. Okay. Profs with cannons. Yeah, I thought I seen something weird, but I guess maybe works. I mean, the prophecy is a durable, so you can use any weapons that you have. And the last kill for today, we have a Gila. You know, I think I should really buy a Gila, because I've seen so many not good builds about this ship that I think I kind of want to change that. And you know what, I might buy one and might use a Gila for a while. It should be a very interesting ship for the new systems as well, so I definitely have a purpose for it. Well, this Gila seems to be sleeping, and yeah, that was a very big hit. Nice. Well, another faction cruiser has been eliminated. That was good. That was good. Well then, let's take a look at the kill here. 1.2 billion, not bad. Okay, well, decent value for sure. And well, that will be it for today. I think it was a very interesting way to start the year with a PvP build. I mean, I think I did that for the last 4 or 5 years so far. So yeah, it's a tradition, and honestly, it was pretty good, pretty fun. Lots of very nice kills and some pretty good fights as well. And I'm definitely looking forward for more. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. If you would like to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that being said, stay safe, fly safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.